This is Sophia. She's a boa. She's one that was given to me a while back and is currently in my care. Snakes are something that I've always had an interest in since I was very young. And one of the things that interests me today is the relationship between humans and snakes throughout history and how they're perceived. And not only that, we'll take a look today at what we can learn. If there's any lessons that we can glean from taking a look at snakes and how they've been seen throughout history. Certainly today, many people see snakes as symbols of evil. And that's no doubt in connection to their association with things like the devil, Satan, things like that. The story, the Garden of Eden, where the devil, Satan, took the form of a serpent and eventually led to the fall of humanity, indicating humans' fallen nature. And for that reason, many people see these animals as evil, connected with malevolent beings. Certainly the devil has great influence on many cultures around the world and many faiths and the way many people think. And so if we know that, we can understand why many people would see snakes as evil, but it hasn't always been that way, and it isn't that way everywhere in the world. Certainly if you lived in ancient Greece and you had an ailment that you wanted to cure, perhaps you would visit the temple of Asclepius, where people would go seeking a cure for whatever it is that troubled them. And they would go to the temple and find one of the many serpents that were allowed to crawl freely around there. And they would even have serpents, snakes crawl around on them in hopes of receiving healing. As snakes in that time, in that culture, in that place, were seen as symbols of medicine, of healing, rather. And so the god Asclepius is a god of healing and is associated with healing. And he had a large rod or a staff that he would carry, where a large snake was wrapped around it. And today, this rod of Asclepius is a symbol of healing, of modern medicine. In fact, if you enter into a medical establishment, or perhaps if you see an ambulance drive by, you will see the rod of Asclepius, or the caduceus, as we call it these days. So in that sense, snakes, in that culture, snakes were seen as symbols of health, healing, wellness, all good things, nothing evil at all about them. So it certainly had to do with the culture you're surrounded with. The things you were taught about snakes will greatly influence how you perceive them. In Africa, to this day, Togo and surrounding countries, where the ball python, certainly the most popular pet snake in the world right now, the ball python, is known as the royal python. And there it is revered and it is worshipped. Even people even pray to it, asking favors of it, perhaps even favors of healing. And so in that culture, in that place, in this time, even today, those snakes are seen as something good, something positive. Symbols of health, symbols of healing, symbols of all good things. Throughout human history, also snakes have been seen as symbols of rebirth and renewal. Snakes go through a process called ecdysis, in which they shed their old layers of skin. And during this process, one day the snake will appear quite dull and will get even duller over the course of time, over the course of several days. Its eye scales will cloud over. Its color will no longer be vibrant and as beautiful. It won't show as well. And the snake will essentially be blind. The old layers of skin are forming underneath, rather the new layers, as the old layers are being pushed up towards the surface. And in between these layers is a protective fluid, an oily fluid that clouds the color of the skin, even of the eye cap, the eye scale. And the snake is a bit more vulnerable, and so it might hide for this time, as it is essentially blind, seeing much of the world in the way I see it. And so I can relate to that. But after a few days, those eye caps will clear up, and the snake will begin rubbing its nose on objects and peel the first front of its nose, and it will crawl out of its skin and leave the skin inside out. If you ever find a snake's shed skin, it is actually inside out. You can think of how you take off a sock as you pull it off your foot, and it ends up inside out. That's how the snake sheds its skin. And you can tell, kind of, the direction the snake went by the way the tail's pointing when it sheds its skin. But anyway, once it sheds its skin, it is no longer dark and dull. Its colors are as vibrant as they're going to be in this current cycle. And it is as beautiful and as smooth and clean looking, more than before even. And in that process, it is of course shedding its skin because it has grown. So what lesson can we glean from this? If nothing else, that if we ourselves are to grow, to become better people, to make ourselves better, certainly we're to undergo a certain measure of struggle, of difficulty. People often ask, they pray, they hope that they should not have to go through struggles that many people go through in life. We should be thankful when things are going well for us, but quite often we will go through struggles in life. And instead of asking for these things to be removed, to be taken off of our plates, we should understand that these are opportunities to grow. And much in the same way as the serpent went through its own process of vulnerability during its growth process, so too, as we undergo struggle, we can grow. We can become better people because of that struggle that we will all go through. And none of us are exempt from these difficult times in life. Each and every one of us at some point will go through some form of difficulty, but we can take the lesson from the snake and know that it is through this process, through this struggle and strife and difficult times, that we grow and become better people. And I encourage each and every one of you, if you're watching this, to do just that. You know, you meet lots of people, and you know, they're probably not somebody you might want to hang around, and years pass by and you see them again, and quite often they're exactly the same. There's no growth there. And so I would encourage each and every one of you to take every day to make yourself better, to help yourself grow. Take the lesson from the serpent, from the snake, and make yourself better each day. Become a nicer person, a kinder person. Be more generous, be more patient. Increase your skills, whatever it is. Increase your learning, read books, do things to make yourself better. And in that way, we can better serve those around us, and we can be of better use to the world. So that's a cool lesson we can learn just by learning about these wonderful animals, these snakes that are often feared. And just as many people fear these animals, other people worship them, revere them, love them. And what's different? All it is our thoughts, isn't it? And so if we see snakes in a way, or anything in life, as something negative, all we have to do is change our thoughts, and we can see things in a totally different way. Just as the snake by many is seen as evil, it is only those thoughts that create this idea that snakes are evil in our mind, whereas others see them as healers. In fact, today, We are using even the actually what you could consider a snake you could avoid, a venomous snake. We're using their venom to extract their complex proteins and study them and create medicine that is used for painkillers, blood thinners, and other reptiles. Venom have been used to help treat diabetes, and they may even hold cures for cancer and other terrible diseases like that. So again, it's all a matter of how we choose to think of them. So choose to think of snakes in a positive way, in a good way, as good things. Understand how they're perceived by many cultures, but at the same time, increase in knowledge, study, make yourself better so that you understand not only snakes better, but yourself and how life is. And that life can be a lot easier if we take this lesson from the serpent and that we make ourselves better, but we understand that when we go through struggles, these are opportunities for growth. And it's the same kind of symbol of rebirth and renewal you might see in the symbol of the phoenix. Just as a phoenix is a beautiful feathered creature that grows old and weak and then bursts into flames and becomes nothing but a pile of ashes. From that pile of ashes, just as the snake crawling out of its skin becomes a new beautiful creature, so too does the phoenix rise from those ashes, a new creature. And you can do the same thing. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on snakes. If you did, please like this video and share it and follow this account or subscribe. And if you are in Northern California and you appreciate snakes and you love reptiles, lizards, amphibians, salamanders, any of the above, or others that fall into those categories, I invite you to join our community at Central Valley Herpetological Society. And I'll provide links to the Facebook page. And we hope you'll join us at our meetings. But if you are elsewhere, be sure to share this video and the lesson on the wonderful lessons of growth and perception that we can glean from examining this snake right here and all snakes. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you